So I think I we woke up having a nightmare. That's okay. How are we doing on food? The broccoli's about to go, but we can grab... Strawberries are still fresh. Those are all still fresh. Still fresh. Cool. Our produce is slowly starting to wind down a little bit. Just trying to move it all to the other side of the freezer since we're starting to knock down the amount that's in there. Oh, good buffalo. Yeah, so early on, we actually had our bases attacked during, I can't remember if it's a meta event or a helicopter. And so none of the rest of the base got attacked, but we did have a zombie beat up on this cooler and break half of it. So the funny thing is, it still actually isn't that bad. Like, you can see it still works. Yeah, it was the helicopter attack? Okay. But also what's interesting is if you look at the fuel use, Popsicle Fridge 3, that's because this is 1, that's 2, and that's 3. So it actually did technically reduce the cost of the power we have for the freezer, but you know, I don't ask questions, it's fine. So, one thing I am going to do, and I feel comfortable doing this at this point with how little showed up there, I think we're going to declare the country club as officially cleared. Now, as a reminder, cleared in this doesn't mean there's literally no zombies in it. Cleared means we've gone through and we're basically seeing minimal zombie turnout when we're doing stuff. Oh, I need to remove this note. So, I'm saying the, here, we're going to go boom. But, so the thing I need to figure out is determining our next target. So we've cleared Ekron. This is clear. We're calling it cleared at least. This we consider cleared now as well, because we were only finding zombies like out in the woods, and that to me isn't part of it. So the choices we have is one is I can go up this eastern path, and I can hit from here. I can hit from here. I can go up the western path, hit the warehouse this area, and then go up here. You vote the cluster to the northwest of the club. So the northwest, so this area. So yeah, that's not a bad idea. We hit all these trailers, we hit the warehouse, the storage units. I believe that might be a gas station. Yeah, I'm down. So yeah, so now we just drive by the country club and we start hitting that area. So let me update our objectives. Let's shrink that because that's too big, taking up too much screen real estate. I know that hurts its visibility. I'm sorry, it's just, this is too wide. Okay, so this is our target here. When I say reach it, we're trying to get just anywhere in here, so I'll probably stop at like one of these buildings down here is where we're going to set up our home for the time being, and then we'll end up taking over this area. Oh yeah, Ekron gas station is very popular. The biggest reason for it, more than anything else, is Ekron gas station is like right smack dab in the middle of the map. But yeah, for the 16x pop runs, I very specifically choose that location pretty much every time. That's a very intentional thing. Oh, yeah, the storage unit's like, that's a nice defensible location, because I want to say there's just the one entrance, so if you gate it off, wall it off, I think actually if it comes gated off, it's just usually the zombies end up destroying it, or you end up having to destroy it to get in. But yeah. Now the warehouse area and the storage units, like the storage units aren't as popular. Like, they're definitely a place that people use. The warehouse, I know a lot of people use. Because you can just... There's a good chance of having a sledgehammer in there. So you just go in there, grab your tools, sledgehammer down the stairs, and now you've got a second floor base that's pretty solid. My only big issue with the warehouse base is you gotta really push towards rain barrels as fast as possible because there's just no body of water nearby. Plus, gas isn't particularly convenient there either. It's not awful, it's not terrible, it's just kind of around the corner. But I generally am a big fan of gas station bases just to avoid having to do the run back and forth to the gas station. It is a shame that this run we actually were going to live in the Ekron gas station, like the building itself, and it was just burned down when we got there. True. I am curious what they do the rebalance of the traits, because they're saying a lot of the negatives they consider free points are just too easy to mitigate right now, so I am curious. Because I do understand the idea is a lot of the negative traits are supposed to be something sticky that is just, it's a consequence you live with. Alright, still no indication that we're going to have a helicopter, which is excellent. I feel like before we drove off, I should have grabbed the tire pump and checked all our tires. I don't think I've checked this in a long time, because that could be part of what's causing our problem is that our tires are in bad shape. You want to deal with that before we have a blowout someplace. Yep. No, I don't disagree. That's not good. It's fine. We managed to stop most of the way. That'll help our car run well. But yeah, no, at this point we have the only negative trait that's still outstanding is slow healer, which there's no fixing, quote unquote. That said, we also have been working at it for about 5.5 months in game. When I say working at, like, we've been going as hard can be on zombie killing for the most part. Not as hard as can be, but pretty freaking hard on the zombie killing. So we are a bit of an extreme case here. But yeah, there are definitely a lot of traits that you can go. And I wouldn't even mind if they were like, no, it takes way longer to fix the trait. Like they separate it out from your fitness and strength thing and they do something with it. I don't know. Yep, no, I don't disagree with Good Buffalo. You know, Good Buffalo said, I'm keen on some balancing. There are a lot of cheesy ways to like exploit things that make the game a lot easier, at least than it should be, in your opinion. Yeah, no, I agree that I personally feel like the base game should have, you know, like a lot of those traits should be stickier. That they're something you've got to work around. That your character has this flaw that they're stuck with, and they've got to deal with it. And like getting over it is a climb. So like that's the reason I don't feel too bad about the unfit weak obese thing. Is like we're only now where a character might start, and we've been investing like hard fighting and moving around, doing that for 6 months. Now actually getting where our character is actually good with those stats is considerably more effort is going to be coming. It is beyond tedious leveling. Now even then, I think it'd be fair if they said, you know what, we're going to slow it down. And I'm also getting this because I have a perk, Fast Learner, that's helping us deal with that. And they could also say, okay, well, Fast Learner doesn't work on penalties from traits. Sure, fair. If I take a trait that penalizes me, Fast Learning has no application, I can live with that. Will it hurt? Oh, yes. But if I don't like it, I can just go into my settings and go, you know what? I'm just going to change the sandbox settings to not have that. Yeah, I would agree they do need to do balance on both ends of the spectrum. Like, keen hearing is such a powerful survival trait. Just getting that extra second to second and a half to react when something's coming up behind you is life-saving, like time and time again. So it's one of those, like, if you don't know what to take, you take keen hearing. Stuff like lucky and organized, all that's like, those are always universally good. Versus there's a lot of positive traits that are like, should you take this? Doesn't really matter. It's fine, it technically helps. Like Eagle Eye, it's kind of helpful, but I mean, honestly, if you don't, not a big deal. I would, like, actually, I only recently started running organized, because, like, it wasn't that big a deal to me, and that's with my characters having such absolutely horrendous carry weight. Because in practice, even on, like, really big inventory, it's only like, okay, you can carry 1 or 2 more decent items in your inventory. But that said, I run it because I find it amazing and I love it, and I would recommend it. But to me, that's not one of those ones like, no, you really need this one. Like, the ones I usually recommend people is Fast Learning, Keen Hearing, and Lucky. Yeah, no, I can see, like, when you're doing, like, the base building of that, where you're, like, dragging an extra backpack and that kind of, sure. Like, I'm not going to say it's bad or anything. Like, it's certainly a good trait. Like, I absolutely take it that it is a good trait. Unless you're playing multiplayer with people who do and don't use them, then it's just a chore because you end up having to, like, help people put stuff away because their inventories are full. Right, and that's one of the other ones, like, a lot of the traits are like, I just give you 1 or 2 points in this skill. Even the ones that it's a good skill, it's like, okay, but like, do I care? Because like, getting a point tailoring is not that big a deal. Like, I'd rather the traits that give you a point in something give you some unique benefit with that thing. Like where we have our employment stuff that, you know, gives you little bonuses and all that. I'd be like, alright, give me something like that, but based on traits, if I choose like a profession trait. Like, I actually feel like herbalism is not that bad in the sense, okay, you get herbalism, you can eat stuff that would otherwise poison you right from the get-go, like, know what is and isn't safe. That said, you read the magazine, and that makes that trait a moot point, but, you know, at least you have to find the magazine. And then you just make it a very, very low point cost one, because you can get it otherwise. Yeah, fast learner is super big. Like, it's just shy of double the speed for learning stuff. So, like, that's a very useful one. I also feel like I'm not going to see nearly as many zombies. Like, as we're going through and just clearing out more and more zombies in this end of the map, I feel like we are going to gradually just see zombies start dwindling down. Just because the zombies that we were pulling for, like, the helicopters that we're going to be going to the place they're being pulled from. You have no bullets. Get out of here. Yeah, I do feel there is, for skills leveling, there is a bit too much discrepancy in some skills. Like a lot of the weapon combat, we do not have zombie respawn on. Oh, I'm sorry, 1 second. Didn't update my title. Title updated. Yeah, no, we do not have zombie respawn on, so we are at absolute max population the game supports. No respawn. We do have multiple helicopters on, so that is the setting of sometimes for helicopters, which is about 2 to 3 a month. We are pretty much due for a helicopter, if I remember correctly. So, like, any day now we'll have one probably pop up. Yeah, for me it depends on what I'm doing. Like, honestly, a lot of times I do have respawn on. But, with this particular challenge, no, the whole point is to kill all the zombies. I do like the feeling of progression, though, you get from doing this, where you clear out an area where it used to be just kind of wading through the sea of zombies, and now you just see, like, a group of 5 and 6 here and there, and you're like, right. Get wrecked. And honestly, that isn't, like, not part of this. So we were doing the 16x pop stuff, but it's like, okay, you know, you reach the point where you're kind of just holding your ground endlessly in one place, not making any progress. And then, you know, there's that. Or you go to the whole thing where it's like, okay, I can survive indefinitely by just staying away from the trouble spot. Versus with respawn, it's like, okay, I have purpose in continuing going. Like, you know, every zombie I kill is making the world a little bit less zombified. Yeah, I've grown to start liking it, to be honest. Like, it is... So... Oh, I didn't fill up my water before I left. That was a dumb move on my part. Especially since we're already this far. Granted, we'll see if I can even get my foothold in here the first day. Usually when I'm going to a new area at these levels of population, as you get closer, it becomes more and more of a slog that you can't just get in there right away. You have to kind of work your way through the zombies. turning back around, so I'm clearing back the way we came versus into areas we haven't even gone yet this playthrough. No need to walk directly into more hordes. Cool. Yeah, multiplayer, like that's the things when people get into discussing like different things, like any discussions of saying it's like, okay, you do have to preface the multiplayer single player thing because just the need is entirely different. Like if you're doing very small number of multiplayer, like it's just you and a buddy kind of thing, you can leave respawns off, that's probably fine. But if you're talking to a server of 12 people, it's like, yeah, the respawns have to be on because just 12 people of any experience in the game are probably just going to decimate that population over time. Alright, one thing I wanted to check, because we banged this car pretty bad. Let's see how bad it is. It's nowhere near as bad as I thought it was going to be. Yeah, that's, I've said it a couple times on stream, like, it takes a long time to do this challenge. So usually when I have a solid attempt like we've got going now, whether I win or lose when the attempt is done, I will do a different challenge or something completely different from the challenge. You know, at least for a couple rounds. Just because it is such a slog to do this challenge. And I like it. But it is one of those things that's like, no, I need to mix up my gameplay. Because especially like this one, where, you know, we're a couple weeks into like real life, where I've put a couple different weeks into doing this. You know, I'm coming up on half a year in game. So I want to make sure, like, okay, I've done this ridiculous thing, like, let's not do the meat grinder, let's do really smart zombies, or let's do environmental problems. Okay, alright, all y'all coming out of the woods a little bit late. I mean, I do appreciate that you're coming out. Thank you. I wish it was earlier, but you know, I still appreciate. I've done Sprinter on stream. I actually really don't care for Sprinters and how they make the game feel in Project Zomboid. Because, like, for me, the whole thing with Project Zomboid, it is a game that is, you know, slow, meticulous, risk management, that kind of stuff. Rewards being consistent, not panicking, that kind of stuff. And then Sprinter's like, no, you have to react quickly when things go wrong. And it's just almost entirely like, do not pull more than 2 Sprinters. Like, you can make it work, but it is an absolute mess. And it also means you just abuse the crap out of windows and fences. And that's fine. But, you know, that's not Project Zomboid for me. But yeah, so like the zombies that open windows and doors, I haven't played with those in a super long time. It's like I could see doing a decent sized population with zombies that open windows and doors. Honestly, at the rate we're going, we might actually get our toe into this place. It depends on how fast the zombie pop picks up, though. I'm not, like, I feel like... So there's the country club. You can see where we're actually fighting at down here. I feel like this is close enough the helicopter would have pulled zombies over. And if that's the case, then we should see, like, a reduced number of zombies in this area from what it normally would have. Well, we've passed 19,000 zombies killed. Yeah, this is what moving into a new town is like in this mode. It's just, even on the woods, there's just so many zombies, so you just kind of get to work. Usually end up doing 4 or 5 laps. Each time you come through, some of the zombies that are farther out will have reached close to the road, until eventually you stop seeing zombies near where you're at. We are getting exerted. Just giving our character a chance to recover their stamina. What have you got? What do you got? Oh, bread knife. I just saw a blade sticking out of someone waggling around and going, ooh, let's talk. Yeah, and I've mentioned a number of times in the stream, like, I kind of want to play the PoE League a little bit, but I know there's no such thing as playing the PoE League a little bit. You play it or you don't. And if you play it, you're like, it is the game you play for a month. That said, I was thinking of Project Zomboid for a month to do it. And it kind of annoys me that PoE is just that way. Just for how long it takes to reach the end game content, it's just like, okay. I saw the one with the bread knife up there, and once again it's like, what's that? Oh, okay. Yeah, and it's because like one of the things I also dislike that becomes kind of a big problem, and it's the plus and the con of Path of Exile. And so one of the nice things about Path of Exile is between like the passive tree and the items and all that, you can do such amazing and like absolutely ridiculous stuff with your builds. But doing so, it takes so much effort to like plan out a build. Otherwise, you have to pull up someone's build guide and go with that, and that's fine. Like, going with by build guides is absolutely fine, A-okay. But, like, it's exciting to come up with new and different builds to try and all that, or, you know, find someone else build and find a new twist to do on it and all that. But again, you gotta be fully committed to the league to do that, because just planning out your build is a couple days' effort. You know, again, barring you don't just grab some guide and say, I'm doing theirs. Which is fair. I would say probably the majority of players do that. They say, I see a build that's good, I'm just gonna do it. Like, to my understanding, it's actually one of the hottest things for, you know, content creators is, like, at the beginning of the league, because, you know, certain stuff gets nerfed, certain stuff gets buffed. It's at the beginning of the league, you know, what are the builds that are viable things. Yeah. Right, that's fine, Elgo, so. Because, I mean, when you look at that stuff, it's like, okay, like, I'm dipping my toe and having a good time. It's like, this person has 27,000 hours in the game because, you know, this is literally what they do for a living. And you're like, one would hope the person with 27,000 hours in the game would, you know, have a more fine-tuned version of a build because they know all the items in the game off the top of their head. Like, just, okay, I need something that does this. Well, here's the 10 items I can do to accomplish that. Versus, you know, someone like me going, okay, well, I need a place to get endurance charges. Well, here is the mechanics I know make endurance charges. And I'll be like, all right, but yeah, but there's all these other clever tricks to do, and you're like, oh. But still, the more people play, the more they understand the exact specifics of itemization, what's more impactful, what's not, what is viable, what's not. And even they make mistakes. Like, I've definitely seen streamers who have, you know, easily tens of thousands of hours in the game that normally are, like, taking top 10 positions for being the first, like, the first to kill Kitava, the first to kill whoever the end uber boss is for that particular, you know, season, league, whatever. And then, like, they'll race and they'll win and all that, and then you'll have them where they go, oh, all right, well, I'm going to make this build for this race, it's going to be amazing, and then the build ends up just having some serious flaw in it that they have to pivot out and, like, make into a jank version of another build. Or just completely pivot the build entirely and accept that they're going to be behind in damage a while. Though I am happy that they've, because, you know, Path of Exile was helping, like, not sponsor, I think that's too strong a word, but support a bunch of the races to level 100. And I am happy that Path of Exile has been, like, going, or GGG, I should say specifically, has been going, you know, we'll do, like, the first to kill the new content, the first to do this, we'll, like, support those races, but the top, you know, first 100, it's like, it's genuinely not healthy. Maybe we don't support those anymore. Because you, like, look at these people who are playing the game for a week with, like, next to no sleep. Or realistically, they find some exploity way to get tons and tons of XP, where if you're not doing the exploity way, then you just don't have a chance. Yeah, plus I'd feel like boss rushes are more interesting, because it's basically try to get there as fast as possible. With, like, the grind to 100, you can actually, like, it almost rewards you for playing safe, but just lots of time and then consistently efficient content. Whereas the boss rush kind of has, like, depending on the boss rush, you know, like Kitava, it's just go as fast as possible. Like, don't worry about gearing, don't worry about any of that. It's just go, 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 go. Because getting, like, you do that in the first day, like, was it 5-something hours is the time it takes usually for people to clear Kitava who are racing? Might be much lower now, but you get the idea. So you can't, like, if you go to the place to, like, work on items at all, congratulations, you've already lost the race on Kitava. It's just super fast. Versus the push for 100, it's like, no, this is a marathon, it's not a sprint. Like, how fast you get to maps is almost irrelevant in the push to 100. It's just being able to stay on as much as possible and keep, like, a very good cadence of your content so that you're doing efficiently. Yeah, now I've not done, like, when I say my push to 100, it's not for, like, races and all that. Like, I'm not competitively going for it, but I have done the push to 100 for leagues for the 40-40. And even where I'm streaming, you know, 11 hours a day, give or take, like, pushing to 100 at 11 hours a day, not assuming I'm not doing anything like exploity and all that, like, you're still talking several weeks, like, you know, several weeks to a month, month and a half to get to 100. Again, barring doing anything exploity, like where heist, where you could dip in to get, like, multiple huge packs of 100, you know, that one you can go super fast to leveling 100, or where people would do the, what is it, the timeless rotas. Not talking any specific league. We're just talking in generalizations here. Well, even Mirror's worth of gear, the thing is you have to, like, it's how fast you can run through the map. And once you get to a certain speed, movement-wise, you know, getting faster, like, is very, very nuanced. It's kind of the joke when you talk about, like, the damage between, you know, okay, this is a piece of equipment that costs 10, 15, 20 Exalt and a mirror. And yes, they do stack and it ends up being more damage, like, in numbers. When it comes to killing enemies outside bosses, it's irrelevant. You know, if you basically one-tap an enemy, like, instantaneously, overkill does nothing to make you go faster. Oh yeah. Yeah, you can do it like ridiculously fast. And again, one, if you're doing it exploity, or two, there are certain maps that have been really good. Yeah, like what is it? Toxic Sewers is a really good map for having fairly high mob density, being able to clear it fairly fast, not having to you know, not having to do anything silly like backtracking and all that. Yep. Yep, I am talking about PoE just because, you know, the new league launch now is kind of lamenting on the side that's like, oh, like, because of how much I stream and the type of content I stream, and I know Path of Exile, while it's popular to play among my community, it seems like it's mixed on popularity for watching. And so it's like, okay, if we're going for partner and all that, you know, going to something that my audience has specifically said, oh, this is something we're not really excited to watch. It's like, okay, probably don't. That doesn't mean I'm not doing what's fun or anything. Like, I'm having fun. It's just Path of Exile, it's you either play it or you don't. Like, that's the thing with cards. Like, if I were to play a little Path of Exile, the fact is I'm going to have to play a whole lot of Path of Exile, or I might as well not boot up Path of Exile. Because, you know, the joke is you get through the story is the tutorial. You get into maps, and that's like kind of white maps is, again, like your very first introduction to endgame, but like real endgame is at red maps, and that's when you start getting all the new bosses and all that. Oh, zombie in the middle of the road, I didn't see. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, and that's one of my big complaints about Path of Exile. And I understand that is the strength of Standard League. Is when it comes to leagues, just going through the storyline. I'm tired of the storyline. I've done that storyline so many times. When I say I've done it over 100 times, I'm not exaggerating. I've done it way over 100 times. I'm tired of the storyline. It was a good storyline, but I'm more than through with it. Like, I know they're like, we don't want to add an adventure mode. I'm like, right, but like, seriously, I'm done with your story. Like, please, give me an alternative level. Like, I liked the endless delve and the endless heist and all that, because like, okay, I can do delve. Even if it's something that after you do it a week, you're like, you know what, I'm good on delve. I don't need more delve. It's just to do something other than the story was just nice. Why are you making those noises when I'm not in the snow? I don't quite get it, and it bothers me. Yeah, and every like, even the leagues I kind of took off for the most part, I still at some point like dipped my toe. Like, that's one of the things when it comes to leagues I can't really get into because of time, which has only been the last two. Like, I ended up hopping in like middle league for a lot of those and just playing a little bit, because what you could do is just at that point the market's so saturated, you get like one drop of anything okay, and suddenly you can just buy all the gear that's gotten, you know, there's a surplus, and so anything that isn't like really end game stuff gets super cheap because there's just so much of a market for all the better stuff. And I know a bunch of people complain about how horrible the economy gets, and it does. But it's like, you have the mirror tier, that's always a super price. You have like the next tier below that, that's super expensive. But then you go one tier below that, it's just like an alchemy. The downside is people don't want to answer your trades ever. And that's why I hate the current trade system. I've gotten tired of it. It was kind of cute and quirky for a while, but it's just like, you know, the fact that you can whisper people and just never get an answer is not indicative of a good system. Yeah, and I will say, to a certain degree, the situation has gotten worse over time, partly because people are tired of it. Like when only a few people are tired of it, wasn't that big a deal, but it's kind of like as more and more people get tired of it. I haven't had a visitor in a long time. I was kind of confused when I heard someone banging on my door. How you doing? I mean, sorry for the axe murdery greeting, but you know, you didn't ring, you just started banging on the door. It was very rude. Oh yeah, 100%. It's like absolutely the bots are the only thing making the currency trade even functional. Well, and it sucks too because like I want to help fix the trade problem by like meaningfully participating, but I'm also at the point where it's just like when it comes to a lot of the trade stuff, I'm like, okay, I could do all this, but I'm kind of in the one where it's like, okay, you're a week in league, all right, all of my 5 chaos crap, I'm taking it all off because I don't even want to answer, you know, whispers for this crap anymore. Like I want to play the game to play the game. I don't want to trade and do all this garbage. And like I play solo self-found, but the one issue I have is then they'll be like, oh, well, to get this boss, you have to have 1,000 little currencies that drop at like 1 currency each per map.